Hi everyone. So I would like to explain you about how to crack manual testing interview. So I am Simhachalam Panasa and I'll explain about how to crack the manual testing. So it could be useful for a beginner who is trying in manual testing, or it could be useful for a uh, resource who is also going for the interview with some experience. So it may be useful for anybody who is going to attend interview on manual testing. Okay, so let's switch to so So as part of manual testing interview or whatever the interview, we can expect the question, the basic question is tell me about yourself. So this is the question we can expect from each and every, in interview. So without this, there is no interview. So basically this question will be will be posted by the interviewer to know about yourself. Why? Because they already have your resume, your profile with them, but still there are chances they have not gone through your profile, or they want to check how you are speaking, how what's your communication, how you are presenting, how you are explaining something to the other person. So these are all the parameters will be considered. So I am again insisting a point. This is very important point, very important thing you need to explain to the interviewer, because we already know it, like first impression is the best impression. So this tell me about yourself is a question which you are going to explain will decide your the interview process for upcoming 30 minutes. So whatever the interview time, so it will decide your entire remaining time. Okay, so be cautious and consider this also very important point in your mind while you are explaining something about yourself. So, and don't explain everything about yourself, like everything I did, my schooling from that, college from this, and my percentage this, my college name is this. Yes, don't do this, because as we know, so every person in the interview also, so they are not that much, that much they don't show interest to listen to you continuously, not more than 2 minutes. So by keeping this point in mind, don't explain them too much. Explain them in a short and crispy. So explain them in a like explain them like what you want to explain, what you want to tell, but in a short manner. So that will also give a good feedback, good impression about you. So please take care that also. So people will try to fail this and try to explain everything from resume top to bottom. No, don't do this. So don't do that. So why? Because it should be simple, so that interviewer will he'll he or she will try to ask the next question from next section, right? So keep that point in your mind and explain very short and brief. Okay, and coming to the resume, so generally, so everybody we have a habit, like we copy paste something from our colleagues resume or friends resume, right? We just copy paste it and we made a resume. Yes, you can do that, that's not a problem, but thing is, you just understand what you're copying, what sentence you are copying. You should have a awareness what the sentence you have copied from your colleague or your friend's resume. So you copy paste it, but make yourself prepared for that line, because if you are putting some skill which you don't know, and you once the interviewer asks the question from that perspective, you fail to explain, that will lead to another problem. Interviewer will get a bad impression. You put something in your resume and you are not aware of it that point, so they will go in a different direction. So don't do that. You prepare your resume, each and every line what you know already. If you don't know, simply remove it, that's not a problem, that's not going to harm you. Okay, and be thorough on your resume contents. Why? Because we prepared a resume today and we are giving interview, we fail to explain something. So the interviewer will ask, yeah, you mentioned this in your resume, that's what I am asking a question. Some interviewers will say explicitly like that. So in that scenario, what you are failing is, whatever you mentioned in the resume, you fail to explain them. So that should not be a point you should make in the interview, right? So avoid that problem. So be prepared what you mentioned, what are the contents you mentioned in the resume. Either it could be a skill or any sentence, whatever the sentence, you should be aware each and every dot in the resume, and be aware of questions posting from your resume. Why? Because most of the time, based on my experience, interviewer will ask the questions from your resume. They won't go beyond that. They'll ask almost all the questions, 90% of the questions from your resume. Whatever the skill you put in the resume, they'll just simply ask for that. Why? Because you have shortlisted for this interview based on your resume. Some HR, they, they monitor your entire profile, and they have gone through it, and they capture the major points what they want for this particular their project. So based on that, they selected your resume. So based on that, so you should be you can expect some questions based on your resume, right? So be prepared for the contents. You can expect some questions from resume. Either it could be a project or skills, whatever it may be. So sometimes people will also fail to explain about the team size. Why? Because sometimes we put our team size. So because you have some experience, so you work for multiple projects, and you have worked with the multiple teams, so you fail to explain them what is your current team size. No, you should be in a position to explain what is your correct team size, and how many QA people are there, how many manual testing resources, how many automation testing resources, like that. You should be in a position to explain them neatly, so that the interviewer will get a clear idea about what is your team size and all. So you explain this. This is also one of the key parameter you need to take care. In the domains, this is very most a key parameter which decides you to, hire with the company. Why? Because the while you are giving an interview with any company, you keep the point in your mind, like the interview, the the company is going to hire you because you know something which is related to their project, which is, for example, you have some domain experience that will help to their project. For example, e-commerce. So you put your one e-commerce project in your resume. So there is, you are giving an interview with the company. They also have some e-commerce project related requirement is there. So for that project, they are going to hire you. That's what they are conducting interview, right? So you already know the some domain, and you should be in a position to explain clearly what domain experience you have, in what area you have. So please explain them how you are good in that. So based on that questions, they will, analyze your skills, and they will hire you. And so domain is also plays very critical role, especially for testing people. Because if you know domain, if you have good skills, manual skills or automation skills, so if you are good in domain also, so you can test the product. Why? Because as a QA, as a testing persons, you are very much important for the project or product you are delivering. You are certifying some product which is going to used by some n number of customers in the production, right? So you should be very cautious while you are testing it. So if you have a domain experience, so that will give you a better ideas while you are while you are deriving test cases. So that's what the company people will hire you based on your previous domain experience also. So keep that point in also in your mind. And testing process, yes. So most of the interviewers, they post a question related to your testing process. They may ask directly, or they may ask indirectly. So they ask, once you got a build, so how you will test it, what you will test it, how you will test it. They'll ask the question in a different manner, but they want to understand your context about your testing process, how you are following, what is the process you are following in the company, in the project. So what you know, what you already implemented, what you are currently implementing. So they want to understand your testing process. So if they ask some question which is related to this, so you should be in a position to explain them what's your current testing process. So how you involved in the process. So what the process you already knew it. So you should be in a position to explain them. So simple. So interview is nothing but, I can explain, I can tell you one thing. Interview is the only one chance you can sell directly to the interviewer. So if you know something, for example, there is a shop, the shopkeeper is selling some goods, so for example pen, so he should be having a good idea how to sell that pen to the customers. So in a similar way, interview is nothing but you are selling something, you are selling yourself to the interviewer. If you are good in that, yes, you are hired. Or else, even though you have a good technical skills, if you fail to explain yourself what you already know, if you fail to explain yourself, if you are failed to sell yourself properly, then you are not hired even though you have a good technical skills. So you, these are all the points you should be aware of it and prepare for it. What I would suggest is, before any interview, prepare for that. At least spend 30 minutes of your time and prepare how you want to explain, how you want to deliver things. So how you want to say something about yourself or from your resume or your professional career, you prepare for that. You prepare, mentally prepare that, and how you want to deliver it, prepare. That's not a problem. You take some time and work on it, and work on your resume and prepare accordingly, so that you can deliver good. That will also give you some confidence. Believe it or not, do it and you will see the results. That's for sure, because I am saying that from my experience. I am sharing all these points from my experience. Not I read, I somewhere, it's not a web document some I read somewhere and I am explaining to you. These are all the good best practices which I have seen, I have implemented, and which will be benefited for you if you follow. So, and interview driving process. So we, as we already know, if you, the interview process is kind of a two ways. One, interviewer will drive the interview. The person who is taking interview, he will drive the interview. Two, you will drive the interview. You can, as a interview, your interview asks something, so you are explaining something, yes, you can drive the interview, right? There are two ways. So it is based on your answers. So once the interviewer asks the question, how you are delivering something, how you are delivering answer, it depends again. So how you are delivering will decide whether you are driving the interview or he is driving the interview. So like the first case, interviewer is driving the interview, means interviewer have already some set of questions in his mind, whether it could be related to domain or project or whatever it may be, related to technical experience. So they have their set of questions they will ask you. So they'll see how you are answering, what is your answering capabilities. So they will assess everything. So based on that, they will decide whether they want to hire you or not. So the second process, you are driving interview, means you are, once the first question posted by the interviewer, so you explain some answer. Based on that answer, interview will post some other question. Based on again your next answer, in where interviewer will frame the next question. So means you are explaining something which you already know. Imagine you know manual testing and API testing. You don't know SQL. So you explain something as an example to the interviewer from the manual testing perspective and API testing perspective. Don't go to the SQL because you don't know. You don't have much skills in that area. So don't drive the interviewer to that area. Drive within these areas only. So that will help you. And what some in these two ways. So if you have a good idea, so it again, it's not a standard process defined for each and every interview. It depends. I am saying just a case. If there is any case, yes, this is the case. You can drive the interview or you can follow the interview. Whatever the interviewer already have in his head, he will ask the question. You just answer them. That's it. Why? Because there are some cases, interviewer will ask the questions and he will don't listen to your answer completely. If once he got some idea about it, he will skip to, yes, we'll go to next question. That means interviewer is driving you. So he already has some set of questions. He want to complete those questions. He want to understand whether you are familiar with those questions and answers or not. So that will be another way, right? So these two processes are there. Please be aware of it and understand it. Okay. And there will be another questions from your experience in reporting bugs. So it again, it depends on the your experience level. If you are going for a entry level engineer, your experience level in reporting issues is different. if you are going with a good amount of experience, the interview level will be different. Yes, but you explain them the complete process. See, as a entry level engineer, that's okay, but as a experienced guy, generally we don't explain the bugs, or you are reporting bugs. You are just don't explain them like I just draft the case, I draft the test steps screenshot, I'll attach screenshot, I'll report a bug. uh, Rather, if you explain like I already have some experience into checking the logs, because we once we find any issue, that may be exception, that may be causing some issue, right? So that exception or that issue is captured somewhere. Yes, there may be a chance you don't know where it is capturing, but if you know, because once we report a issue, developer is fixing it. Based on what, they will do some root cause analysis. They will do some R&D where exactly the issue is occurring and where it is capturing. So they will know this process and they will easily fix the issue, right? So if you know this, if you have a chance to access it, if you have a chance to know this process, you make a note of it and explain them in the interview process. While I am posting a issue, I'll also check the logs. I'll also monitor the API calls. I'll also see how it is, the server response and all, API side, and I'll also monitor the exceptions in the logs in the server. So if there is any possibility, I'll also report a issue with the log, so that a developer can easily understand the issue, where exactly what is the exception caused for this issue, and they will simply give a fix that will help to the developer and also for your career perspective. So your experience, you should be in a position. Sometimes we do this process, this entire flow, as part of bug reporting, but we fail to explain in the interview. So the thing is, you prepare for it, and if interviewer asks, so once you got a issue, how do you report it, you explain them the process, this experience. So that will give a good idea to the interviewer about your bug reporting process. Okay, that will give a good impression. So this guy not only know how to report the bugs, but the complete process he know. So we should be in a position to answer one step ahead to the other. See, because interview is nothing but a competition. So you are giving interview means you are not only the one person giving interview to that position. There may be n number of people giving interview to that position. So if you explain all these, if you take care all these areas, then definitely you will be a unique person who is giving interview to for that position. So simply the interviewer will make a note of it everything, and they will select you for sure. Okay, and there may be another question like, what are your challenges? Definitely they will post a question, what is your challenges, what are your challenges during your interview, like during your project execution, during your project, what challenges you faced? Either it could be a technical challenge, either it could be a resource challenge, either it could be a domain challenges. Whatever it may be the challenge, prepare for it. You explain them at least one challenge. And the thing is, if you don't have any challenge, if you are failed to capture what challenges, you why don't you take the suggestion from your fellow teammates or from other teammates? What are the other teammates facing this issue or the challenge? Why don't you incorporate that example into your project, your experience? Why don't you build a story and explain to the interviewer? That will give a interviewer, like for example, this guy, if this challenge faced by this guy, so he will solve it because he already have a basic idea about it, so that they can overcome the challenge, they can work, they can resume the work. So that impression will give to the interviewer if you explain clearly. Yes, you are doing it, but you fail to explain. That will not give you a good impression, or that will not give you a strength to your profile. You, how much technically you are strong, that interviewer know by when, if you explain something to him, if you deliver something to him which already you know. Okay, and if you go to the other section, other area, your experience and contribution areas within the team. Yes, this is also one of the important question being posted by the interviewer. So tell me, what's your major contribution to the team? So as a team, so you are working for a team, and as a resource, how you contributed, what is your contribution, how it is, and they will ask the questions like this. So you prepare for it, because as a resource we are working for a team, means we are already involved in a team and we are doing some efforts, we are putting some efforts. So you are contributing something to the team, towards to the success or towards to the project success, right? So you are contributing something, but you should be in a position to explain what is your contribution and how it, if there are any challenge, how you overcome it, and what is your contribution, how it helps the project to be a part, like success, to become success. So you explain all these cases. And finally also, like, if you are explaining something even though it's not as part of your process or it's not part of your experience, you explore to the other people in your team or other people from other team, and explore to them and ask them what's your process, how you are following. So these questions, keep these questions in mind, and don't ask like a interview, but ask them like a, just a clarification I need in this area, and grab the knowledge, and if there is any possibility, frame some story around it, okay, and deliver it. So interview also sometimes they'll ask, tell me in your experience, what is the issue you have reported which is become a very important for your project. If there are any such cases, highlight it, or if there are not, you prepare for it based on your experience, based on your project, frame the answers, and be ready. If interviewer asks the question, deliver it, explain it. Yes, that will give a good impression for the interviewer, your interview. Okay, so let's move to some other section, like corrective actions. So from previous sections, what we already know, we deliver something, yeah, right? What we already uh, did something. So based on that interview feedback, these corrective actions will help you, like how it is. For example, you are giving a telephonic round. So there may be companies nowadays, it's corona time, like people are taking most of the interviewers are taking interviews in a uh, virtual like process, right? Virtual manner. So there may be a telephonic round for first round, it may be a telephonic round, right? So once you are giving a telephonic round, you record it. There may be n number of apps available in the market, like you can just record whatever the call you are talking to, right? So you record it and you replay it, and you listen what you have explained. You listen for twice or thrice, so that you will have an idea what you have explained to the interviewer during your interview process. Why? Because if you don't record it, you may be in a thinking, you may be in a position like thinking like, I explained correctly whatever the interviewer asked, but I don't know why he has not selected. So to overcome that issue, you just record it, so that you listen after your interview twice or thrice, so that you will come to know what is the point you are lagging, and where it is you are lagging, and what is the area you need to improve, and what is the answer you have delivered. If you are not selected, you will just improve it in the next interviews, right? That will help you for the whatever the questions they have asked, how you answered, and what is your voice tone, voice modulation. So what is how is your communication? That will help you in a different, multiple uh, angles. So yes, if it's a video call, what you need to do? Yes, in a video call we don't have a chance to record voice, but still you can record your uh, at least audio with your mobile. For example, it's a Zoom call or a Skype call. You are giving interview in a video kind of a interview. So you can record audio, and you can listen to the audio, and you can understand what mistakes you have done during the interview. You can correct it for the next interview, or you can also, it will also help you to for further rounds. Why? Because during the interview, the first level, second level, simply they'll ask the questions from, sometimes they'll ask the questions in a same area. So yes, that will help you. Okay, I am selected in the first round for this company. So I have explained like this. Yes, I need to at least for improve the next round, or you can follow the same phase how you delivered in the previous round, right? So that will help you for the next rounds. That will also give you confidence. Okay. And yeah, what about the face to face round? If it's a once corona is over, so if it's a face to face round, so how it will, so yes, no problem, you can go for the interview. And once you enter into the real room, interior room, the interviewer, once the interviewer says like let's start the interview, simply you switch like turn on your audio recorder and you record it. And once the interview is over, you stop it and you can listen to it. That's not a problem, right? So in interview, they will allow the phones, but they ask you to put the phones in silent. But they'll ask you can simply record the audio, right? So that's up to you, you can do it. So, and the another important point you need to take care is document it. Whatever the questions the posted in the interview, try to document it and try to write the question. At least write the questions on a paper or a notebook. And what are the questions asked in the interview? Try to write it on a paper or a document it, so that if you are selected for the first round, if you are going for the second round, simply you can revisit the questions and you can improve the better answers for the next round, right? That will help you. And if possible, document or write the answers also. Why? Because you explain something in the interview, write the answer there itself, so that if somebody listen to this audio or somebody sees these the questions, they'll see, okay, this is not the best way, we can improve. There is a chance to improve. Like there may be suggestions, right? So if you don't know the answer, simply Google it. And or talk to the expert, talk to the fellow teammates, or talk to the friends, and talk to the experts and get an idea about the answer, so that in the next round or in the next interview, so if you face the same question, simply you can deliver the answer, right? So that will help you, right? So be prepared for that, document it. That will definitely help you. You will feel the difference. Before, you have not followed this process, and after you follow this process, definitely you will feel the difference. That's I am sure about it. And the one more key area you need to take care is, once you record it, whether it may be a telephonic or whatever it may be, so you just share the recording with your friends, or with your fellow teammates, or with your friends, or with the experts. Because you are listening your audio, your telephonic interview, or your interview audio yourself twice or thrice for your understanding. There may be a chance you missed something, you need to work on it, you need to improvise it. So that suggestions purely comes from the your other person, whether it could be a fellow teammate or expert or your friend. Once they listen to this, they'll give you complete idea, and they'll give you some suggestions based on your interview explanation process. That will help you definitely. Okay. And for example, you have given an interview and you know some answers, and you explain something, and you don't know some questions. But before next round or before next interview, you need to make sure you know all the answers for this particular round, whatever round happened earlier. In that way, you can be quite confident for the next rounds, or you can be in a better way, like you can explain something good, right? So that will give you a good confidence. And give some mark interest. So if you are trying something, and you can give a mark interest to your friends or fellow teammates or experts, right? So you can give a mark interview, so that you can analyze what the you can also expect some questions, different questions from your teammate or your experts, from your experts or from your friends. And you can also have some basic experience how you want to deliver. You prepare something, but if it's a real interview, if you fail to project it, that will be a failure, right? So before that, you give a mock interview to your friend. So what are the questions they ask, so how you are explaining, so you'll feel the experience. So in the interview, if they ask the same questions, or if they ask the questions in the same fashion, so you are quite confident and you can give the interview. And believe it or not, if you So there is no thumb rule for any interview. So if you give for example, you put up your profile in the now career in a job portals and you got a call, and there is no thumb rule like first interview you should be selected. No, it's not like that. There should be a process. You can do some mistakes, you can improvise it, you can correct it, and next level of interviews or next interviews you can correct it and you can win it. So there is no thumb rule. For the first interview itself you should be selected. No, don't feel like that. So there may be a case, maybe it may be you may be rejected in this company, maybe you may be selected in the other company with a good opportunity, better opportunity than this, right? So there is no thumb rule like you can crack the interview for the first time itself. No, practice it and give mock interviews and practice whatever I have explained. These are all from my experience, and I gathered these points and I am explaining. So follow this follow this principles, follow these tips, like I can say like tips, these tips in the interview, and definitely you will see the difference. So you feel the difference. You no need to explain to somebody, but you feel the difference. So earlier how you are doing, now how you are doing, like you'll get a good idea about it. So if you still have any questions, like I would like to explore to more areas, and I'll try to most prepare more videos on this, and I'll try to post it in the future. But if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, or if you have any suggestions for me, you can drop an email to my mail id, and you can also call me, you can ping me, so that I can reachable on my mobile, and I can answer your questions, or I can give suggestions on my from my experience, or I can also take some suggestions from you, and I can work on it, and I can deliver something which is benefit for you. So this complete video, which complete session I am doing for the people who are already technically sound, but they fail to explain something in the interview, and they fail because in my experience I have seen some people, they are technically sound but they fail interview. If you check their technical skills, they are very good, very sound. So if you if you ask the questions in a friendly manner, not like interview, they'll answer it, but they fail to explain the same in interview, because generally for each and every person we have some fear about the interview. So if you talk something with your friend, you will feel in a different way. If you are explaining something in a interview, that will be different, because interview nowadays it's virtual, but earlier you need to go to that company, you need to talk to that hr which whom you don't know. So the face also you don't know at any cost earlier, and the person, everyone is new for you. So you feel somewhat fear, and that fear will also give some like it will kill your some confidence, and while you are explaining something you will feel some some lagging in explanation, uh, right? So try to avoid that, simply practice it. So follow my tips and improvise yourself. You get a good job. Good luck for your bright future. Thanks.